Learn how to drive while they're still at school today. Race driver and motoring expert Rebecca Jackson joining us from Reading. Hi Rebecca, thanks for joining us on Sky News this afternoon. Is this a good idea?
Hello, you're very welcome. I think it's a great idea. I learnt how to drive when I was 16 off-road on my friend's property, and then when I turned 17 and took my first lesson, I already knew the biting point, how to turn the wheel, etc. So then my driving instructor could concentrate on actually teaching me hazards and how to read the road and things like that.
We had an insurer on the programme a little bit earlier on this afternoon, and he was saying absolute nonsense. Young drivers are far more at risk than others, and they shouldn't be allowed to get behind the wheel until they are 17.
Young drivers are more at risk because they lack the experience. It's not totally down to their age. And if they had more experience behind the wheel and they were enabled to drive on the road for a little bit longer before taking their test, then they would be able to assess the road better, because things that come with experience are things such as when you're approaching a junction, if the person is not looking, there's a stronger chance that they might pull out, etc. So also, when they're learning how to drive, they're not taken onto motorways, they're not taken through adverse weather conditions, and they also don't drive at night. So all these things that come down to experience make you a better road driver.
What's the most challenging part of learning how to drive in your experience?
The most challenging part on learning how to drive is assessing for hazards at the same time as concentrating on your own driving. When you're learning how to drive, you're constantly looking at the gear stick to see what gear you're in, and you can't assess which gear you need to be in depending on the road speed. And so once you've mastered that and you've mastered the controls of the car, then you can start concentrating more on the hazards that are around you and other road users. For example, if someone does pull out in front of you, you should ask yourself, how fast was I going? Because if you were breaking the speed limit and they pulled out in front of you, it might not necessarily be their fault. People have bad days, people have good days, and a lot of these things do come down to experience.
For me, the most scary bit of once I'd passed my test was going on the motorway for the first time, which I don't know if you do now, but certainly when I learned to drive, that wasn't part of having someone else with you in the vehicle when you were learning to drive. What about you?
That's absolutely right. When I learnt how to drive, I didn't go on the motorway at all. So when I did my first long drive, which was from Devon up to university in Bath, it was my first experience of driving on the motorway, and I found a friend, someone else, who was driving at around about the same speed I wanted to be driving at, and I just kept a safe distance between me and them, and that was my way of coping with it and dealing with it. Obviously now I do so much driving, it's not daunting jumping in and out of different cars and embarking on long journeys. However, I do think that when people are learning how to drive, they should be taken on the motorways. They need to understand lane discipline, how you overtake, the fact that the outside lane is not there just to do the speed limit. The outside lane is there to overtake, etc. So all these things can be taught when they're learning how to drive.
Okay, it's great to talk to you. Thanks for joining us. Prince William.